Good morning all. It's a fairly pleasant day, so we're out in the garden today. This is largely because I got up early enough to do the video and then spent an hour mucking around with Netflix just because I could, just because it was quite nice to have a rest. And then the family got up, and I would normally be in the shed breeze, but the shed breeze is currently for the garden furniture, which is something else I'm going to have to sort out today. So, what we got? Right, the fuel prices thing. It's kind of work in progress, but I'm going to shelve it for now. Thanks very much for everybody who contributed. I did that video on Friday, and I was supposed to say at the end of the video, the reason to do the video on Friday was to ask people to send the fuel prices in, and then I forgot. I was knackered and I forgot, and yeah, and I'm going to tinker with it. We'll see if we can get it going. I don't really know if it's a flyer or not, but in the meantime, we have got a few things to say about fuel prices. Firstly, Ian Merrick has emailed that Martin Lewis chap, and apparently he does something called the Cheap Energy Club or something like that. Ian, if you could keep me informed, mate, that'd be brilliant. And obviously, anything that you do or anything you can get would be brilliant, and I can pass it on to the rest of the firm, and we can all work it out. In the meantime, I've got nothing to offer you, but Steve Main knows a lady. Her name is Elke, E-L-K-E, and if you've got a pen and paper, the number is 07464 330 972, and if you mention his name, Steve Main, he says she will give you the best deal. So I haven't got anything for you at the moment. I'm still trying to work on someone to come back to me regarding cars or fuels or something like that, but we have got a few comments on it, in fairness. So it's getting a bit warm there. Right. Paul Wilkins says that Shell cards can be used at Esso stations, so that's good to know, because I know the Shell card is slightly dearer than the others, but you get the Shell fuel, and apparently you get the Esso fuel as well, like, you know. Paul Salisbury says, he said, now he used to work for a fuel card company. He says, monitor your costs with a hawk's eyes. He said, I used to work with them, and they were constantly pulling strokes. He uses pay at pump and keeps receipts, and he used to work for a fuel card company. Paul, if there's anything that you can enlighten me with, obviously not mentioning any names or who you used to work for, on the kind of strokes they used to pull, it would be dead handy to share it with the rest of the class. And yeah, I'd be interested, because you never really you put your card in, you fill it up, you assume that it's going to be monitored, it's going to be accurate, and yeah, I'd be curious to know, mate, if you could pass it on, if you could leave a little message underneath the video, it'd be brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, and Forsyth has put us straight on with the Fuel Genie thing. Now, the Fuel Genie thing, now my mate Simple Brian, he uses this, and basically Fuel Genie, I think, can be used at Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, all the kind of supermarket ones, so you get the cheap fuel anyway. And he says you save about 3p a litre with it, and also because it links up to your loyalty cards, you get the points. So every time you fill up the points, you get your Tesco's Club points, or you get your Sainsbury's Next point or whatever, and then come Christmas, it pays for the shopping. You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, but the fuel card thing is still work in progress, but I'm not going to bore you with another Saturday video at the moment until I've actually got something more concrete to do. We kind of going to leave it there. But once again, thanks very much for everyone who emailed me in the prices and stuff like that. We're just going to see how it goes for now. What I might do is just tell everybody what I'm getting at the beginning on a Sunday Q&A, and they can compare that to what they've got, which I dare say everyone's getting better than me. But there you go. What else we got? Oh, thank you, Ian Merrick, also for putting me straight on Bank Holiday. Yes, apparently Bank Holiday Monday doesn't necessarily have to be on a Bank Holiday Monday. This week, Bank Holiday Monday is Friday the 8th, which I'm very pleased about, because it means that job that I booked for Monday morning, which has taken me up to Huddersfield, there's a good chance I actually will get a job back, because not everybody's off. Not that they're not off anyway. Jason Burke says, yeah, this is all together with that thing I did about another week in lockdown. He said, yeah, and he's dead right. Of course, it had to be done, and the death rate has dropped as a result. You know, and he was also ill in December. Strangely, like the amount of people I know that got this terrible sort of coldy flu thing in December. That doesn't mean it was the same thing. That might have been there was a terrible flu going around in December, and now the coronavirus is going around now. But yeah, just it's weird. Well, I suppose the point I was trying to make was the fact that I was in this firm, and everybody was, when I would do my pickup, my last pickup on Friday, they were all behaving absolutely normally, and they were all next to each other, no one had masks on, and I kind of thought, well, what's probably happened there is they went in, they carried on working, and for the first week or two they did the thing, and then after a while, slowly but surely it slips, and nothing happens, and then they let it slip. Now, I'm not trying to pass judgment on whether it's right or wrong, and the problem is, we don't know if we did the right thing, because we've got absolutely no frame of reference. Well, we know we did do the right thing. We had to take all the necessary precautions. The question is, I asked myself, how much difference did it actually make? But this is a question I will never know the answer to. if I could create a parallel universe, go back in time exactly the same and run 2 separate experiments together, then I would know. But it's never going to happen. We did what we had to do, and we're getting through it, and that's the main thing. But yeah, you're dead right. On the subject of also going back to their own habits, Paul Danilescu says people are starting to go back to their own habits because of people like me who are making money while the others stay at home and do their bit. Yeah, it's a tad harsh, that one, Daniel, to be honest with you. I mean, bearing in mind the fact that I'm not in the high risk group, but I am in my 50s. And, you know, and when it all started, and we didn't know how virulent it was going to be and how bad it was going to be, I elected to move a hospital wing. I mean, I am getting paid for it, but I have tried. I thought the idea, they do songs on us on the radio, they clap us. So the idea of being that I'm out there trying to profiteer, abusing the system to other people's misery, yeah, that's not really what I was told. I was kind of told by the government that I was supposed to keep the economy moving and keep the country running by, you know, going out and doing the stuff so everybody else can stay safe. I suppose it depends on your personal point of view, but as Alan makes the point, have you had anything delivered in the last 5 weeks? And also, I would say, and what was it? So, you're entitled to your opinion, my friend. Might want to rethink it, though. What else we got here? Oh, we don't know it. Right, now, okay. On the Argos multi-drop, Lee Westcott says, if all the driving jobs were multi-drops, I'd pack them in. There's multi-drop and multi-drop. Before this thing kicked, I mean, I've done the parcel force. That was 60 drops. They've got the people out doing the Argos. They're up to 300 drops. Al is now doing the Argos full time because things have got really quiet in the office and we kind of need to bring in a bit of extra dough. So he's doing the Argos full time and I'm going on to just on the exchange. I'm happy enough with that. We were offered the Argos in evenings, but I don't like the evenings. Start at 2 and then you do one run, you get back at 6 and then you have to reload for 6:30 and you finish. And that would be we working from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather just stick on the exchange and see how I go. Like, you know, I say it hasn't been bad for me. Thursday was exceptionally busy. I had to put the hours in, but it was very, very busy. So I'm just going to stick with it. And also before all this started, we were doing the fridges. And when you're doing the fridges, you pick them up at 5 in the morning. You have to drive for about an hour and a half and then you normally do about 8 drops and you were done by about 11 o'clock and I got like most of my day's money and that was fine. That was lovely. You knew where you were going, you knew what you were doing. The run order was fantastic. There's multi-drops and multi-drops at the end of the day. Andrew McGrath says, oh, it's an interesting tip for you guys. Now we used to do this when we was on the DFS, which is get a pen. Go through your run order, get your parcels and go 1 on the run order with a pen and then like with a marker pen, write 1, 2, 3 on all your parcels. That way, he says you're not scratching around trying to find tiny postcodes, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so you know which one is your next one. So you won't miss one, and then realise you've got to come back to it. So that's, like I say, I'm not on the Argos right now, but that is an interesting point. Thanks very much. Jason Burke says he always follows the route on the drop sheet. Like I say, it depends who you're in with. You know, when I was doing the fridges, I always followed the drop sheet route. It never come unstuck. But with the Argos, I have done postcodes. I've had to do an hour round trip to drop off a parcel to a place where I knew I'd been 2 hours ago and I could have dropped it off around the corner. In which case, for certain people, you'll get to know. For certain people, it is actually worth having a look through and seeing, you know, whether you need to actually reorder their run sheet or not. Richard John says, do they offer this work for small vans? Not really, mate, to be honest with you. There's too many drops and there's too many larger items. You know, you might not get all larger items. You might get Nintendo Switch games or memory cards, which are very small. But at the same time, you can guarantee someone's going to order a kettle barbecue or a dining set, you know, for the garden. And not really. I mean, I once told a story of a geezer who turned up in a medium wheelbase, and it was they put him in on a medium wheelbase. It wasn't his fault, but it became very clear very quickly that they needed at least a long wheelbase. And there you go. Daniel Garumba says, hello mate, how you doing? He says you can drop the PDA in any order. You're not right about that one. I mean, I don't know if that applies to Argos or other things. I suppose it depends again who you're working for and what system they've got. But again, I'll go bridge I'll have to cross when I come to it because, like I say, I'm on gardening leave at the moment from the Argos. I'm back on the exchange, so there we go. Oh, and Eddie Roberts is also now 15 consecutive days in Argos, and he's doing fine with it, as is my mate Ray. Seems like everybody's out on it at the moment, but not me. So we'll see how I go on the CX next week. I'll let you know how it goes. The X2, yeah, the thing I did about the X2. Sorry it was a short video, but I was kind of waiting in the bus lane, and that's something else to watch out for, guys. I meant to say in the video, but then the bus pulled up, and I thought, oh, I'm blocking the bus lane, shouldn't really be doing this, I'm blocking the bus stop. I was only there for 2 minutes, but still. And I couldn't do it any other time, because normally you've got no chance, too much traffic around. Yeah, they've got loads of tiny cameras all around Heathrow now. They're like the size of a box of tissues, like a king-size box of tissues, and they're attached to all the lampposts. So not that anyone speeds anyway, but at the moment it's getting very difficult to keep my own speed, because normally I'm regulated by the car in front of me, but now there's no cars in front of me, and occasionally I look down and go, oh, I'm doing 36, slow down. But yeah, these things are all over the lampposts around Heathrow, so be careful. Right, Gareth Vickers said, is that the main Heathrow flight terminal? No. I don't know what the main Heathrow flight terminal is. I've never been there. There is a lot of these kind of places jotted all around Heathrow, obviously, because there's a lot of air freight. There's kind of what they call the something triangle over around Slough Way, and there's lots around Heathrow and kind of UB and all that kind of stuff. And it's just basically freight depots to a greater or lesser degree, but none of them are that scary because they're geared up to take freight. So they've got great big loading bays and fork truck drivers. Sometimes there's a bit of a wait getting into the office, to, if there's a few vans in front of you, but then just ring the shipper and let them know. So that's it. Oh, and friends, my mate, friends, I'm sorry I haven't got back to you, mate. It's just been crazy. Give us a call next week, please, if I don't call you. He used to work 0.4 miles away from there. Yeah, I think he's probably happy where he is now, although I think he's kind of self-isolating, so there we go. Right, the miscellaneous. What we got on the miscellaneous? Paul Collins. Is this a good time to join the CX? Right, this is the second week I've went asked the same question. So, Paul, I'm going to do a video. You can have your own video. I'm going to go into it. All right, and I'll do one for you next week. I'll probably do it as soon as I can. Paul McKenna says, or McKenza, or something like that, says, how much money do you think you need to start up on the CX, and should you buy or hire a van? I would say if you could, you should prepare yourself for 3 months' wages. So work out what your outgoings are for 3 months, unless you're using a factoring company. I will work out what money you need for about 3 months, because that's what I would say, because they pay 30 days, 60 days, but then they don't, and then you've got to get it to trickle in. So if you could prepare yourself for that, and I would highly recommend you buy a van rather than hire a van, because hiring vans can be expensive. If you do it on a lease hire, they want to screw you down the miles, so they don't want to give you many miles. So but yeah, if you like, give me a call, mate. My number's 07970 723 884, and if you phone me Monday to Friday 9 to 5, I'll happily answer your phone, and if I'm loading or unloading or something like that, I'll get us back to you as soon as I can, and I'll talk you through it. But yeah, that's about the size of things. Max Courier has just started, and he has no idea about prices. I did a video a long time ago, and it still kind of stands on how much jobs kind of sell for the CX. So I'm going to put a link up. If it's not there now, it'll be there very shortly. And I would quote maybe slightly under that at the moment. I think things have changed slightly since I joined. Maybe jobs going slightly cheaper than they were before. The problem is, if you quote much less than the prices I'm telling you to quote, you'll end up working for nothing, because it's keen enough as it is, So, but there is a link to, if you want to follow the link back, or if not, I'll try and stick one up so you can have a look at it. So, like I say, in the present climate, competition is fierce. You might want to go slightly under. Lee. Am I really called Pete? Yes. Not a lot more I can say about that. I've always been... Yeah, this is all real, mate. I'm not an actor. It's ain't Jonathan Pye. I wish he was. He's brilliant. No, it's just me, Pete, the courier driver, driving a van, showing you my experience of me driving a van. It's not exactly Star Wars. Ganesh Bashira says, have I ever got negative feedback? Actually, do you know what? No. Because I've always tried to do the job correctly, and in the beginning I messed up a couple of times, but they kind of know you're new on it, and you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know what I was doing." The company has, though. The company's got negative feedback 2 or 3 times. Once when I accepted 2 jobs at the same time and didn't realise I'd done it when we very first started, and I didn't know what I was doing. But that wasn't me personally delivering, that was a mistake I made kind of on behalf of the office. Once when we had a driver who broke down and didn't ring the shipper for an hour to tell him that he'd broken down, and then rung him himself, broke down an hour ago. Well, we had to put our hands up to that one. That was rubbish. And once, when we actually got sent through a job without being phoned, rung the guy back and said, we can't do this job. The van is now on another job, and the guy gave us negative feedback, and they upheld it, which I think is incredibly harsh. But we haven't got any negative at the moment, and like I say, in doing over, oh God, we're up to over 3,000 jobs now. We've only ever had 3 negatives, which is 1 in 1,000. And me personally, no, I've never done it, because if you play it by the rules and you do it right and you don't co-load and you go straight there and you talk to the shippers, then there's no reason why you should ever get it. What else have we got? Very noisy on the motorbike. Andrew Dory, also on the Argos. Right, he uses a couple of apps which I've heard about as well. Dorset Explorer, which apparently is very good for finding house places. If they call a house by like Willow Walk or Dun Roman, hilarious. Yeah, you can find that with Dorset Explorer, and also uses Delmate. I did log back into Delmate, but as far as I understand, you have to pay for it, and it might be very good, but then so is Google Maps. If Google Maps don't work, 9 times out of 10, Waze will make up the difference. So I'm a big fan of things you don't have to pay for. Copilot apparently is a very good sat-nav, but you have to pay for it. Waze and Google Maps are also very good sat-navs. You don't have to pay for. They work great. The only thing I wish is somebody would put a width restriction on one of them so that they didn't constantly try and send me down places I can't get down. Although you can do a 6'6" in a Luton van with 6'6", which if you're clever and you go slowly, you can do it. It's just railway bridges sometimes. There's one particular one in Slough. I know it now. When you come in, you think there's no way I'm going under that. If I was going under that in my car, I'd duck. Like bus out of James Bond. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. But yeah, if you want to try them, guys, Dorset Explorer, Delmate, let me know how it goes. I say I'm too mean to pay for part of the money with it. Steve Bradley says cash only toll roads are now free. That's interesting to know. I don't know how many cash only toll roads there are, but apparently if they are out there, they're now free to use. So that's good to know. Max Securia says, what if they don't give you any paperwork? Right, again, I'm asked this a lot. It doesn't really warrant it, but I'm going to do a video on paperwork and PODs just because I can go bing and you can go to it. So I'll do you one this week as well as one I'm doing for that other guy. James Rowan, can you use a car instead of a small van? The short answer is no. Practically you could. The amount of times that I've picked up loads and I could have gone by my car, but that's not what stops you. You can't use a car instead of a small van because you can't get the right insurance. You need hire and reward insurance and goods in transit insurance to run on the CX in case something goes wrong. If you hit the van, they pay out. If you're doing a job in a car and you've got like commercial stuff on board, your insurance isn't valid. So no, unfortunately not. You can get yourself a small van, but cars, unfortunately, no. Sorry. James Rowan, do I miss the markets? Do you know what, mate? No. And I somehow feel I should, because I've done it forever and it was all in my blood. I've done it all my life, and I say I miss the crack. I miss when they were busy. But to be honest with you, no. I'm more than happy doing what I'm doing at the moment. And there are no markets at the moment. I'm sure they'll come back. You think about, do you know what I think? What done me in the end was not. The bad just so outweighed the good. The aggravation, the horrible weather, the uncertainty of are you going to take any money, the constantly be drilled for discount, no. And the misery of everybody going around going, oh, it's no good. No, I don't. I deliver pallets to smiling people. No, I don't miss them at all. I should, but I don't. Richard Jones, how much does it cost? Right, guys, you can all let me know. I don't know. I joined ages ago. We've just done our subs again. Ouch. How much is 6 month subs on the CX? He was quoted £650 plus VAT for 6 months. He said he thought that would be more like 12 months. I think that's about right, mate. I think it's about 650 quid for 6 months at the moment plus VAT. They might be doing deals, bear in mind the current climate. I don't know, you'd have to ring them. Or you can join, if you want to join the CX, if you follow the link, the end link, or I might be able to put one up here, I don't know, to the website. And there's a bit at the end if you want to join the CX. If you go to my website, there's all stuff about insurance. It's starting to grow now, about us, about how to join the CX, about insurance, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I think that's about right money. And also, he says, is there any way of picking up, the same guy again, Richard Jones, any way of picking up Argos and Parcelforce without using the CX? Quite possibly, but I don't know it. You could probably ring them directly, but the thing is, what these people will do is Argos will use a courier firm, and then that courier firm, if they haven't got vans of their own, will go on the CX. And the chances are it's the big bod courier firms that Argos going to ring. They're not going to ring Dave's vans around the corner, are they? They're going to ring somebody major. So the chances are probably not, I'll be honest. Starsky, it says, if it says delivering to stores, does that mean like delivering to stores, like places where you store stuff, or shops? I would say shops. If it's delivering to store rooms or like, you know, units, it wouldn't say anything. So I would say that's shops. Daryl Springer says, what is the load and weight on a Luton ton van, and do you need an oat, mate? I'm going to give you a video too, because this one comes up all the time, just so that I can just ping it across and I don't have to keep repeating myself on Sundays and bore everybody with my nonsense. There's someone else I had to do here somewhere. Someone mentioned, oh, that's right. Jason Burke said he always follows the drop sheet, and so there's another courier app out there which you may want to use. It's called the Courier Map.co.uk. Like I say, I'm not affiliated with the exchange in any way. I don't tell anybody what to do. There are other apps out there. There's Shipley out there if you want to do the removals. If you want to get backloads, there's the couriermap.co.uk. If you want to give it a spin, give it a spin. It just so happens the reason I talk about the exchange is what I run on, because it works the best for me, but I'm sure there's plenty of others out there. Please let me know, I'll always pass them on. This is just me. Right, and in conclusion, you'll be pleased to know, coming to an end of yet another long Sunday CNA. Cole Rigby says, have a break, you look knackered. Mate, I think I was. I looked back at that video yesterday, I was like all over the shop. I come home yesterday, had a drink with my wife, see the kids, had some lunch, went to bed, had a decent night's sleep, and now I've got the weekend off. I'm looking forward to just pottering around the garden, so thank you very much, that's what I'm going to do. Jason Burke again, superstar, says, the reason it's called a spoke is because the central place where you pick the stuff up from is the hub, and therefore you deliver it to spokes. So it's like a wheel with a hub in the middle and the spokes going out. Like that, mate. Thanks very much. And finally, the final word this week goes to Steve Bradley, who was the guy who was on the delivering flowers, you know, sort of like, he said it was a multi-drop, it was the best multi-drop he ever had to do. He said he had to deliver 4 types of flowers to different places. He had to deliver self-raising, plain, wholemeal and strong white. And he said everybody was happy. And of course they would be happy, because everybody loves being bought flowers. On that note, I'm going in. I'm going to look forward to my weekend. Hope you're well. Hope you're staying safe. I'm hoping things are tipped over and things are going to start to get back to normal now. I said I was going to miss it when it goes back to normal because of the traffic on the road. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of starting to crave it now. I'm a bit like, just give me back my old life. I just work all week and go to a pub at the end of it and just know everybody's safe. So anyway, we're getting through it, hopefully, with not too many casualties. And like I say, the lockdown, you know, I was all over the shop today. It's definitely the right thing to do. I just wonder. You just never know. But definitely the right thing. Carry on. Keep safe. Do your hand sanitizer. Do your social distancing. And fingers crossed, there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. And in the meantime, take care. Take money.